Hi, this is A New Nigeria with Wale Oluwade. This is your current affairs program where we critically examine the strategic issues bedeviling Nigeria's developmental aspirations and boldly offer practical suggestions on building the Nigeria of our collective desires. Today's episode promises to be engaging and exciting. My guest is already here to assist me in doing justice and also give depth and clarity to the topic of our discourse. As always, it's going to be evidence-driven, honest, bold, and a no-holds-barred conversation. So get ready as we begin in earnest. And now, let's get on with it. We're beginning today a presidential series which I have christened Know Your Candidates. And in my view, it represents a major positive step towards electing the persons who will superintend over the affairs of this country at the critical tiers of our governance architecture at this most precarious state in our nation's existence. Nigeria deserves the best managers and leaders at this juncture in its history. For so long, we have toyed with and played meaningless games with the leadership selection process of our country. And this isn't just at the national level, but even more dire at the 36 states of the Federation. The evidence of this stares us starkly in the face. This simply cannot continue. We cannot afford to hire unprepared or ill-equipped individuals based on primordial sentiments or unhelpful parameters. Therefore, beginning from this episode, we shall be engaging all the candidates of the 18 political parties, particularly those vying for the positions of presidents, governors, and national and state legislators, to know their personal histories, ascertain their understanding of leadership and the role of government, and to further explain their visions, plans, and programs in the coming elections to the Nigerian people. Today, we have one of such personalities on the program. We'll take this short break, and when we return, we'll get right into the conversation. Please stay with us. My guest is already here, Mr. Dumebi Kachiku. He is the presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress. Mr. Dumebi, good afternoon.
Thanks for having me, Wale.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Yes, same here.
We have a number of questions, and like I said in my introduction, the whole idea of this series is to bring candidates of the 18 political parties who are vying for offices at next year's elections to meet the Nigerian people. We cannot do elections the way we have done in this country going forward if things are going to change. So, without further ado, who are you, Mr. Kachuku? Who are you?
My name is Dumebi Kachiku. I hail from Delta State, from a small clan. My people will be happy if I call them a small clan, from a place called Onichubo. It's in Delta North. I like to call myself a Nigerian. I love the word you use in your intro. You talk about primordial sentiments. So I don't like engaging in talking about when people say where you're from. People will still hold on to ethnic cleavages. So I'm a Nigerian who's been based in Abuja for the last 2 decades plus. I run several businesses in different spheres of the economy. I have been what you call a student activist right from high school. If you're applying for a job and people want to know that requirement, and I feel like I love the idea of your program being establishing the credentials of people to know if they're qualified. But again, the role of the media in this dispensation is to define what those actual credentials are, so we don't sell the wrong narrative to the people. For me now, in this dispensation right now, what is the credential needed for any president of Nigeria is the person who actually cares about the well-being of all Nigerians, who sees all Nigerians as one, who sees our nation as one indivisible nation, so that he can be father, mother, brother, and sister to all Nigerians. That's what I'm selling. That's what my party is selling to Nigerians.
Good. Even though I would beg to differ a bit, I agree with you, but to some extent, the issues confronting Nigeria are multifaceted. They're strategic in nature. And I use the word strategic deliberately because it means if we don't get it right, this country may simply not exist.
Absolutely.
So such a person needs to have, the constitutional requirements, minimum requirements, does not suffice. And that is one of the reasons why we've got into this point, So, but let's leave that so that we can move forward. I mean, the reason why I said that is because I think you're qualified, you know. I mean, based on your videos. I went on your Instagram page, and number of videos, you know, short videos, but I was mesmerized when I saw those videos.
Thank you.
Why? That leads me to this question. You know, you seem like a very spiritual person. There's a particular video I saw where you were talking about national repentance, you know, that can we continue like this in sin and ask for grace from God for us to make progress as a nation. You said we needed God's mercy. You actually even prayed for Nigeria and all of that, you know. I was touched by that video. The other videos, there's one about the joke, you know, like what's it called now? A skit, you know, on Titus Fish, a couple and all of that, you know, beat the wife. Anyway, there are a number of videos, even some about parental guardian and all of that. I saw a number of those videos, even beyond the ones you sent to me. I went there, I chose the ones I wanted to see, you know. So what stood out to me? Number one, a man who deeply cares about this country. Two, a man who deeply cares about the people. But essentially, maybe because I'm one, a deeply spiritual person. So let me ask you, why are you not a televangelist? Because I think you would do very well as a pastor of a mega church.
So tell you what, right? A few years ago, just advent of COVID, or just before COVID started.
I even saw a couple of those videos on COVID too. You know?
Exactly. I had been having a series of dreams, I had over 30 dreams about Nigeria, about Nigeria imploding. I had dreams where I saw a war in Abuja and terrorists taking over Abuja and booms of cannon, and I was running in the bush with my family. I had the same dream, not a different dream. I had the same dream over 30 times, right? The last time I had this dream was less than 2 weeks ago. This time around, different setting, same dream, right? And the first time I had this dream was just before Buhari came into office, okay? And when I had this dream then, I called family and friends and said, I think there's going to be chaos in Nigeria, there's going to be war. Leave Nigeria, there's going to be a problem, right? And when they left, nothing happened. They called me a false prophet, right? But these dreams kept on occurring. Then, some years ago, I had a dream on a Thursday, I believe, and in that dream, I was with my wife in a particular car, we're driving somewhere in the north, and we were attacked by terrorists, or Boko Haram people. In that dream, we were caught, and they said, lie down there, just face down. I tried to raise my head, and they said, you, I'm pointing a gun at me, and then I woke up. That dream happened on Thursday. On Sunday, 3-4 days later, I was in that car. I didn't realize I was wearing the same clothes I was wearing in the dream. My wife and I went to Mina to go and look at a farm in Mina, and on our way back, we were attacked. Just a few kilometers to Suleja. We were just talking in the car, and then looked up and saw gunshots. They were kidnapping people, taking them from their cars. They were ransacking cars and taking people into the bush, and they were shooting at us. And my wife kept on screaming, and I tried to stop the car. I was reversing, and they were shooting, and they were running towards us.
You were driving?
I was driving. Fortunately, by God's mercy.
So this was a dream playing out in real life now, real time.
In real life. And we're able to escape unscathed. God told me very clearly, don't take what I've showed you for granted. It then dawned on me that we were in trouble, and this what was befalling Nigeria.
Fantastic. So, sorry to interrupt. Fantastic. So has God showed you you're going to be president of Nigeria?
So I'm not one of those people who say to you, God has showed me. But I kept on asking God this question, seeing what I was seeing. What is God showing me this for? Is it for me to run out of Nigeria like we tried to do initially? Is it for me to pray for Nigeria? Is it for me to warn people? Why am I seeing this? I realized that my life story is a Nigerian story. I'm one of those people who, if Nigeria had worked for me, I could have gone a million steps further, right? I see and I feel the plight of common man, probably more than most people. And I ask myself, why did God create me this way? And I said to myself that, you know what, I can't keep on complaining, I can't keep on making these videos in order to make fundamental changes in who we are as a people, in what's going on in our country. Sometimes you need to be in the driver's seat, or you need to be on that table, you know. And I decided to run for office. I don't want to get into the deeper conversation of what God said to me.
Exactly. There'll be you are going to be on this program. I can guarantee you, you know, a few times, because there are lots we need to cover. You know, Why do you want to be president? Maybe I know you've provided a brief context, as it were, but what's your primary motivation? Briefly, so that we can take. What's your primary motivation?
It's very simple. I was bettered into a nation where I was told that it's going to be better tomorrow. Whereas I was told Nigeria was not working. Why I look forward to Nigeria working. I am approaching 50. It's not a story I want to continue telling my children. I am determined that it stops now. I am determined that we have a different story to tell for us, for our children. I'm determined to be part of that narrative to effect change.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You have I'm assuming that you have a chart of service, or otherwise called a manifesto.
Correct, yes.
I assume you do.
Yeah.
What are the top 3 items on this?
It's
very short, you know.
It's a good question. This is my response when people are asking me questions. You get this question from journalists: what are your top 3 priorities? And I'll say this to you: Nigeria is a bucket,
of course,
of water,
of course,
that has over 100 holes.
Absolutely.
If you plug 3 holes, that bucket is leaking. So I tell people, my vision is to come in to plug all the holes by putting in the right people working alongside me who have the capability to plug those holes. So there's not one hot button issue, because all our issues where we are failed are all as important. Just like one organ your body feels, it's as important as the next organ. We must address all issues equally.
There is a particular strategic issue bedeviling Nigeria. If we could get that right, I think every other thing will fall into place. Have you averted your mind to understanding one single issue? There's a plethora of challenges that we're facing, but I see all this insecurity, economic woes, and blah blah blah. I see them as symptoms of a fundamental malaise. And
that malaise is the fact that we don't see ourselves as a people.
Okay.
We don't see ourselves as a nation. We don't see ourselves as Nigerians. We see ourselves as disparate people within a geographical space.
Fantastic.
Because of that, we've let things like tribe, tongue, and religion divide us. It was born, we were better like that in independence, and because of that, because we are divided by these things, corruption, everything else now is bettered from those things, right? If we're people who saw ourselves as one, if we saw ourselves as brothers and sisters, tell you what, it's easier for love to prevail in our society where we can care for all men. But because we see ourselves as different, imagine being in National Assembly where you know a piece of legislation will work for Nigeria, but because you see yourself as, I'm not part of those people there, they're not my people, I will fight it, regardless of if it work for Nigeria, because we don't see ourselves as a people.
Also is our moral crisis, a complete or a near complete erosion.
It derives from that also.
That's why I said I will give 80% on that. So if you had this, because that is why, in my own opinion, whoever is going to fix this country must be an embodiment of moral values. And I'm not saying this to flatter you. When I saw your videos, I saw the simplicity. And when you walked in here, you could actually have walked in and nobody would have looked at you, taking a second look at you, That's my ideal kind of person, in leadership. But we need more of such people. Because what I see with our public elected officials are barbariga, and then a retinue of aides, just making noise, just creating a nuisance of themselves all over the place. We've got to stop that kind of leadership. But that's just by the way. I'm a practical person also, even though we're both spiritual people, I'm also a very practical person. I believe in details. After all, they say the devil is in the details. Sure. So let's deal with some details. So maybe, what's your position on this, our electricity after 62 years, we're still grappling with 4,000 megawatts. How do you solve that? 2, how do you solve queues, fuel queues, NNPC debacle? So, and then thirdly, how do you deal with insecurity? If you can do this 1.5 minutes.
It's not possible to do
I know,
unless
but just give.
But I'll do this very, very fast. Okay, I'll try and take all of them together. Right. Our challenges in Nigeria are challenges that are born out of the fact that we're two different people. We have the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor. We have two different Nigerias, and that's why you never have electricity work in Nigeria. You never have water in Nigeria. You never have anything work in Nigeria. As long as the rich are okay,
they have alternatives.
They have alternatives. Nothing can work in Nigeria, right? How do you tackle that? It's very simple. My first interaction with the next assembly, if I am elected as president of Nigeria, is a bill I call the Nigerian Patriot Act. It's a bill that says to all Nigerians, we're in this together. In good, we're together. In bad, we're together. We are married, just like a marriage contract. So it says, if you're a civil servant, public servant, the director of a company that derives its operating license from government, such as banking, telecoms, solid minerals, oil and gas, what have you, right? It says that you and your family must use public schools, public hospitals. You cannot have a generator in your house. You cannot have a borehole in your house. If you travel within Nigeria, you must travel by road unless it's an emergency. It also says only about 6 or 8 Nigerians can have security, armed security in their houses, right? And it says that if you flout any of the provisions of this law, no fine, jail term. Now, tell you something. Nigeria will work in 1 year. Imagine if...
But sorry, are you sure they will not stone you at that National Assembly presentation?
No, tell you something. My good friend Sergius Ogun tried. You know, I put out this bill in public domain over 2 years ago so that it can percolate like we are. If I, as the president of Nigeria, if I emerge that I emerge on the goodwill of Nigerians, that goodwill, the first thing I will do, instead of sending tepid bills to National Assembly and where they rubber stamp it, I'll send a bill that actually works for everybody. We've got to tighten our belts. If they take light, we'll stay in darkness like the poor man. We'll come together to ensure that everything works in Nigeria. Do you know that the best schools in the world are funded by private endowments, not government? The best schools. In Nigeria, our rich people don't care because our kids are overseas. Let me tell you something. My older kids are in some of the best universities overseas. I am one of the people who send my kids overseas because it's not working here. But my kids also understand that if I am the president of Nigeria, the sacrifice we have to make for Nigeria is that they have to be part of the public school system so that together we can solve Nigeria's problem. Outside of this, we are not going anywhere.
I mean, I just feel speechless, listening to you. Years ago, 2007, I wrote a book titled God and Nigerians, and the theme is derived from the paradox. One of the strange paradoxes of Nigeria is we mouth God, but everything we do is antithetical to God, whatever God represents,
Exactly.
And I came out of all of that to conclude in that book that the elites of Nigeria, the ruling class of Nigeria, have no stake. There are no stakeholders in the Nigerian project. That's what you just explained.
Right, yes.
Brilliant. Now, let's come back to more lighter issues. Going by the outcomes, of your party's primaries, I'm one of those who never. I didn't even. Of course, I must have had your name here and there, but Kingsley Moghalu was a candidate in waiting. And that was the general impression that Kingsley Moghalu was a presidential candidate. In fact, he carried on like he had already won the ticket. So when the next day the results came, I was stunned, just like every other person. Of course, he didn't take it well. He alleged certain infractions against your party chairman who sat here like 3 weeks ago. I had a discussion, very fascinating discussion with Chief Ralph Nwosu. He alleged so many things. But I'll take 2 or 3 questions from that. But first is, how did you pull it off?
It's very simple. Moghalu is...
Sorry, I think you scored about 900 and something. He scored about close to 600. So the gap wasn't really close,
Yeah, gap was not close. Moghalu is one of these patriotic Nigerians, just like me, who believes that there's a lot to do to rescue the Nigerian project, right? And unfortunately, he's had no real political experience. He's one of those people who believes that because I want to do this for Nigeria, that everyone should queue behind me. So I have been...
It should be delivered on a platter.
It should be delivered on a platter. But I understood the political process when I knew it was a delegate election. I knew that the people I ought to be speaking to are the delegates. And I made sure I canvassed for their votes. I was speaking to them, unlike some of the other aspirants. So that was the difference, I think. Fantastic.
So, apart from that, what efforts, he alleged, Professor Moghalu, he alleged that something about transportation, logistics, that you took advantage of that, in connivance with the chairman. Is that true?
That's not true. It was an unfortunate statement he made. I do understand that people take loss differently, and maybe he's one of those people who doesn't take loss well. It was an unfortunate statement he made, knowing that he was part of the process. He provided logistics, hotel, transportation for people. I really don't I like Kingsley a lot, and I really don't. Anytime I have to talk about him, I feel bad because I know he genuinely cares about Project Nigeria, and I need him to be part of this journey. Even if he's in a different party, we all have to come together. It's about Nigeria for us, and I need him. I need to work with him beyond this. You know, I need to work with him. So I really don't. Anything that brings me talking about him, I think is going to open wounds and all that stuff. Someone I genuinely like.
Your party, the ADC, in the Ekiti Guba elections, you came fourth, even though that's quite flattering. And I say that because your candidate scored percentage terms, that's about 1.59% of the entire votes cast. So I looked out for your performance in Osun, but your party wasn't on the ballot. I know I asked Chief Ralph, he was telling me. So if you don't have serious showing in these states-wide elections, you don't have structure as it was, how do you intend to realize your presidential ambition?
It's very simple. I went to Ekiti, and the reception I was accorded me in Ekiti a few days to election was impressive. But I, as a politician, I knew that that's not the real story. Come election day, the people I saw, they were very poor people. They have been bastardized, abused. There are people I saw, I knew that they had not eaten for probably 2 days. Election day, someone will give you 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 naira, and you tell these people not to take their money. No, I knew that was going to happen. Fortunately for us as Nigerians, we now have about 8 months to the elections. So what's going to happen is the fact that we have enough time, you and I, to educate the electorate, to tell them that they offer you money, take the money, it's your money, but vote in them. In terms of structures, my party is, in terms of having party structures across the country, we're the third largest, we're the, third largest, and we have a current serving legislator. But beyond that also, politics in Nigeria is not about the parties. It's about Nigerian people. We must let them know the power resides in them. Their vote is their power. They must do everything to exercise that franchise because they determine who rules us.
I agree with you. One last question, quick one.
It's short.
Yeah.
And I was
quite short. I know. Don't worry. Like I said, you have further opportunities. One last one is why not other positions? Not even governorship. I think people of your spiritual and mental makeup best serves Nigeria in the National Assembly. What do you think?
So to tell you something, right? I'm one of those people who believes that in any capacity, even as a citizen, you serve your country. It's about patriotism. I own and run Roots Television. It's a not-for-profit organization because I want to tell the story of Nigerian people. In my everyday life, it's about serving Nigeria. In doing Sunday Nuggets that you watch, again, it's about serving Nigeria. I believe you can serve Nigeria in any capacity.
Absolutely.
I don't have to be president of Nigeria to serve Nigeria. I am not desperate to be president, but I'm desperate to change Nigeria. That's why I'm running for office. So in terms of the other office, I saw there are very good men and women in National Assembly, but they are hamstrung by the structure of our political system. So they are unable to do much. A lot of them might have wanted to table articles of impeachment against this president, but because of the political system. I want to be in the driver's seat so that I can drive my ideas, my vision for Nigeria. I can tell the story of a rebirth of Nigeria, a new dream for Nigerians. Wale.
So nice to have you, Dumebi.
Thanks for having me.
I said, we're going to be having this conversation. It's an ongoing one, and no matter how next February turns out, please stay in politics. I believe absolutely we need principled and morally anchored individuals in our politics. If we're going to change this country, that is a given. That's very, very important. Thank you once again, Dumebi.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Right,
and that's the end of the interview segment. We'll take this short break, and when we come back, I'll give my closing statement. Please stay with us. To my fellow colleagues and friends in the fourth estate of the realm, the media establishment, when we interact with some of these public officials, cheerleading and fawning sycophancy among some of us, our job always also involves to be dispassionate and objective in their criticism. This further includes holding their feet to the fire on their campaign promises and manifestos. It also includes calling them out when they fall short of expectations and holding them accountable when they transgress the laws or the oaths of their offices. Now, this Know Your Candidate series is open to every presidential governorship, state and federal legislative candidates of all the political parties, I extend an open invite to you to come and present your visions of the ideal Nigeria to Nigerian voters. As a major institution in the traditional media establishment, we at AIT recommit to playing our role in the flowering of democratic system of government in Nigeria. Now, remember, change requires action, and positive change requires positive action. I believe in a new Nigeria, and it is possible. And those are my closing thoughts. Now, that's the program for today. Remember to follow me on my different social media handles so you can watch this particular video and other videos there at your convenience. Drop your comments also. I'd love to hear from you. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now.